How you doing, everybody? Thanks for watching segment 2 of Smacktalk. I'm Tony Gaglione.
I'm Shawn Adams.
Today in segment 2, we're going to talk about the NCAA football on Saturday. We're going to do a little score recap. First, we're going to talk about the UNLV game. UNLV won 38-7 against Western Illinois.
Which you said they should win.
And they should. They're a Division II team.
Yeah, they're only one win away from my season goal.
3 wins?
The 3 wins. I said 3 wins.
They need 5 to save Coach Houck's job.
Yeah. I don't think Coach Houck is going to be there next year.
No.
But talking about the game, the senior quarterback,
Caleb
Herring, this is what I want to say. You got a senior. You've got 284 rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's Cornette, right? He had 12 carries. He only had 83 yards but 2 touchdowns. But as a team, you rush for 284 yards. You're dominating time of possession. You're killing teams on third down. You're getting third and shorts.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way you play football.
Yeah, it's about time.
You know what I mean? And you brought this up when we looked at the stats. 0 penalties, 0 turnovers.
And that is the biggest thing. I mean, you can't win a game when you're turning the ball over 4 times as they usually do. Yeah, you can't win a game when you have 6 penalties for 40 yards. Or I mean, you give a team 2 turnovers. You give the ball to another team 2 times, and you give them 6 penalties for 40 yards. You're basically handing them a touchdown.
You're definitely
handing them 7 points.
If you watch football, a lot of times when teams turn the ball, this is pro and NFL, or pro and college. Sorry, the announcers will say it: points off of turnovers.
Yeah, and you saw in the game last night.
Yeah,
when the Steelers-Bears game was playing,
23 points off of turnovers. You subtract 23 points from the Bears, Steelers win that game. But when you hand the team the other ball, you know, when you give them the turnover, you're basically, okay, you might get, 11 possessions a game? Maybe 11 or 12 possessions a game that are quality possessions, right? If you give away 4 of those or give away 2 of those, you're giving extra quality possessions because most time a turnover happens, that's momentum. And so the key for UNLV is in the previous losses, they were just turning the ball over.
Yeah.
The back-to-back wins, you got a senior quarterback who's not turning the ball over. And you can play defense, which is, I mean, granted it's a Division II team, but you play defense and you don't give the short field on the turnover, and you can make them, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. I think UNLV had them in a 3rd and 20 or 3rd and 22 at one point. That's an easy way to walk off the field. Punt teams on the field. Granted, the other team makes sure their punters on the field.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to say that for the rest
and
of the
with the 284 rushing yards, like you talked about, you control the time of possession. They had 23 first downs in the game. Cornette, like you said, rushed for 83 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns, which was huge. Caleb Herring went 14 for 20 with 140 yards and a touchdown. That was good.
14 for 20. That means you dropped 6 balls, 6 errant passes?
Yeah, and you know what? Before the half, it was only 10-0.
Yeah.
Caleb Herring passed like a 42-yard pass to Jake Phillips for a touchdown and made it 17-0, which was huge going into the half, and we just basically solidified the victory after that.
Yeah, definitely. And putting up 38 points against D2 team, that's what you need to do when you're a D1 school.
Yeah.
You need to handle the nobodies.
You need to put them in a position. You need to put every one of those teams in a position where they just cannot return from the game.
Exactly.
So at halftime, 17-0 is really not where we wanted to be. You probably wanted to be more than that, maybe 24, 27-0. But 38-7 is a quality win, holding a team like Western Illinois, who actually won the D2 title not too long ago, maybe about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
To 7 points is actually a good accomplishment for a team like UNLV. We're coming up, and they're 2-2 right now. And like I said, if Coach Houck wants to save his job, he's going to have to win probably about 5 games.
Yeah. I'm going to start with some top 25 team scores.
Yeah.
Clemson survived a scare, although the score was 26-14. At one point, North Carolina State was kind of in control of that game. Clemson ends up winning the game, number 3 team in the country. Louisville does their business. Tony Bridgewater, we'll get to him in the Heisman watch.
Troy?
72, Troy Bridgewater. 72-0. Or Ohio State, 76-0. Here's the, playing the cupcake week. Georgia also, number 9 team, they win 45-21. Washington still laying it down, 56-0 against Idaho State.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, they handled Purdue. Purdue's fallen is like the weaker team in the Big Ten. They
Texas
41-0.
A&M rolled on who they played. 48-13 or something.
It was ridiculous. Florida beat Tennessee in an SEC matchup, although their quarterback now is out for the season with an ankle injury. They won 31-17. Northwestern continues to rise.
I like it.
35-21.
Illinois.
The Sparty-Notre Dame matchup. Sparty had a chance to win the game.
It was an ugly game,
Yeah, ugly game. 17-13, Notre Dame wins. Notre Dame is not the same team Florida State, number 8 team in the country, looking real good again. 56 to
I'm waiting
or
for one score. I gotta
6.
say something. Go ahead.
Baylor lighting people up, no problem there. 70-7. Stanford handled Arizona State, who got the fluke win.
Yeah,
and they're going to be out of the top 25.
Yeah, they're done.
42-28, and Texas A&M handled St. Mary's.
Hope they enjoyed that spotlight for a week.
Yeah, Alabama as well, number 1 team in the country, 31-6 against Colorado State, who gives Pac-12 teams some fits. Alabama handled them no problem. Texas Tech.
What was the Ohio State score?
Ohio State was 56-0.
76-0.
Yeah.
Here's a question I have, because I get up early in the morning because I get up about 6:37. I get up and I start watching some ESPN or some sports shows. Mike and Mike, they start early. The question of the day for them, which I want to ask to you because I thought it was a great question. Florida A&M, they were paid $900,000 to play this game against Ohio State. Obviously, they needed that financially, but if you are the athletic director, do you put your football team in against Ohio State knowing they're going to lose 76-88 to nothing? Here's just for that kind of money.
Here's
that was a huge question because it's a double-edged sword either way.
I understand the double-edged sword, but here's what I'm going to say. You are selling players' safety for money. Yeah. Because your talent is nowhere near that of a D1 top 5 school in the nation who has probably outweighs your offensive and defensive line by 150 pounds.
Agreed.
And they're athletic. They're benching your quarterback like he's nothing. I would say that, yes, while I understand the economics of what these smaller schools do, they get paid to come in and basically let them light up the scoreboard. But you are sacrificing player safety, and you're watering down. Now, here's what I'm going to say. This ain't going to happen anymore because next year, the strength of schedule,
be in the top 4.
The strength of schedule is not going to. Yeah, there's going to be no more cupcake. There'll still be some cupcakes.
Not D2 schools.
No. What I'm saying is there'll still be some cupcake matchups.
Sure.
But the teams that want to be in the playoffs will be having the harder strength of schedules versus, hey, week 3 and 4 before we start our conference play, we're going to play, Louisiana Tech South or whatever the.
No, that ain't happening anymore. It's going to become like college basketball where your RPI has to be up, your strength of schedule has to be up, and you have to have quality wins against opponents. 76-0 against Florida A&M is not going to do anything.
Miami
77-7.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say: quality win. LSU over Auburn.
Huge.
35-21, number 16. I say LSU national championship, or they beat. They're only in the national championship if they can beat Alabama in the SEC title game.
There's so many teams that are undefeated right now. They're in the top 10 that I just can't say anything.
Well, no, I'm saying LSU, Alabama, SEC title game. That winner.
Yeah, well, we saw that already, and then we saw a national championship with the same rematch, and that was the worst national championship game I've ever seen in my life.
We went to sleep.
Oh my God,
we went to sleep.
That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'm just saying that's why the SEC gets so much credit is because. These two teams, LSU and Alabama, best 2 teams in the SEC, best 2 teams east of the Mississippi.
I don't care. Alabama beat them in the SEC championship game. They should be in the national championship. LSU is out. Simple as that.
No, well, we got to see who plays that matchup. But Oregon's on suspension, so they're not going to be there.
Yeah.
Oregon's going.
But you got teams in the top 10 and they're undefeated right now. Clemson can roll through their schedule and go undefeated.
Stanford's
looking good too. They're a power running team.
Yeah,
they run like the ogre formations, 2 fullbacks. Actually, they're not even fullbacks; they're offensive linemen. But they number them in eligible receiver numbers, so they can go forward and they don't have to check into the game. It's actually pretty cool. Stanford, huge with the power running game.
Let's go to the Heisman watch.
Yeah.
Jordan Lynch, our Northern Illinois,
my boy.
189 rushing yards.
They scored 43 points. He had only 1 touchdown passing. He had 189 yards rushing. He had 2 interceptions, 235 yards passing. Not the game I was looking for.
Yeah.
Passing.
Yeah.
Rushing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
As a quarterback, that's crazy.
Yeah. Tony Bridgewater.
I figured it out. It's Teddy Bridgewater.
Sorry. Teddy Bridgewater. 212 yards through the air. He had 4 TDs, no interceptions.
Yeah, that's a big game.
But again, it's against cupcake teams, so we can't think. Although you look at somebody who didn't play a cupcake, Taj Boyd playing NC State, 3 touchdowns, 244 yards, 0 interceptions. He only had 38 rushing yards, but that 3 TDs, 0 interceptions is going to speak well for him. AJ McCarron, Colorado State's not a cupcake. He had 258 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Right now, with Johnny Manziel lighting up the numbers he does, he didn't have a great game, but he had 2 TDs on the ground, 100 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Taj Boyd is
that's another cupcake.
Separate. I know, that's what I'm saying. Because they didn't play a separate, the numbers, I'm going to say Taj Boyd is there now. But granted, he's going to play in a weaker division, so when it comes to voting.
But he is going to play a schedule that is going to water down these numbers a little bit. He's not going to have 244 passing and 3 touchdowns every game. He's not going to have even 38 yards rushing every game.
I tell you, he'll have a hell of a game when he plays Duke.
Oh, that's for sure.
Duke can't stop anybody. Duke can't stop anybody. I don't even know why they have a football team.
A.J. McCarron, if he puts up the type of numbers that he does, even with 1 touchdown, 1 interception, if it's 258
against the teams he's playing,
the teams he's playing, that's a Heisman winner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If Jordan Lynch rushes for 200 yards every game, that's a Heisman winner.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Teddy Bridgewater's just playing the cupcakes right now. Once he gets into the schedule that he has to play, those numbers aren't going to be there.
You know, I also look at cast. Teddy Bridgewater has an excellent supporting cast.
Sure.
So does A.J. McCarron. Taj Boyd is pretty much the team.
Right now, there is 1 or 2 players that are quality, All-Americans.
Yeah, but I mean, most of it's Taj.
Most
of it's Taj Boyd. And so I don't get a vote, but in my opinion, right now, I'm going to rank them. I'm going to put Bridgewater and Boyd neck and neck. Boyd only because he didn't play cupcake this week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I'm going to say Manziel and Lynch are there because of the type of athlete they are. And then, like I said, McCarron's down at the bottom right now, but he's going to face the toughest schedule. So if he puts up the numbers, his stats
he's going to skyrocket. Jordan Lynch, if he puts up 200 yards rushing a game, that's huge. I say Manziel's still the number 1.
What?
Have to. I'm sorry. Lynch for me is number 2. I'm sorry. With the week he had last week, did you look at the numbers last week?
He doesn't play in the same.
That's fine, but if he just blows people out of the water, like 189 yards rushing, the next person behind him is Manziel with 102.
Yep. Speaking of blowing people out of water, Peyton Manning is now 3rd in NFL history with 60,621 yards and a gangload of touchdowns.
Well, they just scored another touchdown. It's 37-14. I don't know who scored it, but we were talking.
Yeah, we're in the fourth quarter. Like I said, we'll continue to keep you guys informed on the Heisman Watch, as well as UNLV status. We hope UNLV wins 5 games. I say 3, and they only 1 away. So
yeah, well, I mean, I hope they win 5.
They're going to play Boise State.
What's
Fresno
bowl eligible?
State.
5, or is it 6?
I think 6 wins, but we already know the bowl teams in the
Mountain
West.
Wyoming, you never know.
Wyoming,
you
Colorado
never know.
State.
Don't do it.
Wyoming, Colorado State, Fresno State,
you never
Boise
know.
State. I'm sorry, but
you never know.
They might play in the Las Vegas Bowl.
Exactly.
The Las Vegas Bowl.
And that's a home game.
Yeah.
I'm Tony Gaglione. Thanks for watching segment 2 of Smacktalk.
I'm Shawn Adams. Stay tuned for segment 3.